I should have joined the interactive English community. Or I could have joined the interactive English community, or I would have joined the interactive English community. So today I want to talk to you about these modals: should have, could have, and would have. And they're often referred to as modals of lost opportunity because we use them to describe situations that we imagine are different. Now, the good news is that you have not lost this opportunity if you would like to join the interactive English community. There is a link down in the description. It is a great way for you and me to keep in touch. But let's get back to these modals because I want to make sure that you are using them correctly. And I think this is very useful because quite often we want to describe our feelings about past decisions. So you're going to use should have when something did not happen, but you wish that it did happen. You'll use could have when something was possible, but it did not happen. And you will use would have when something happened, but you're just imagining a different result. Now, before we just dive right into these modals, I want to talk to you about pronunciation and grammar, because with pronunciation, these modals will often get reduced. So what's happening is that the H in have, it's just going to get removed. And then that vowel sound is going to become more of a schwa. So we're left with of. And then the final D, that consonant sound, will get linked with that schwa. So it's like we have should of, could of, would of. All right, it's linked together. And people may even reduce it further if they're speaking really fast and they're going to drop that V and you just hear the schwa. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But in general, I think it's often you're going to hear these modals get reduced. And you can listen to me as the lesson goes on. I will reduce them. The other thing I want to say when it comes to grammar is that with these modals, you're going to follow them with the past participle. So with regular verbs, you're just going to use that ed. Should have played, could have called, would have walked. With irregular verbs, you just need to know the past participle. Should have won, could have broken, would have bought. Now that we got grammar and pronunciation out of the way, let me give you a little more context with each of these modals, and we'll begin with should have. So when you think of should have, think of regret. I told you that something did not happen, but you wish that it did happen. So perhaps you're thinking about a past decision and somebody had a good idea or a recommendation and you did not listen to it and you lost that opportunity. When talking about that situation, we can then use should have. So I'm constantly asking you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. So let's just imagine that you don't do this. And then in the future, you're going to look back at this situation and you might say, I should have listened to Wes. My name's Wes, by the way, in case this is your first time here. You'd say, I really want to practice and improve my English skills. Therefore, I should have subscribed to the channel and turned on notifications. Now, if you want to use should have in the negative, should not have, in that case, it's like you regret something that was wrong. I should not have yelled at my brother. I should not have cheated on the exam. I should not have eaten that. And that's one that I feel like I probably use from time to time. Yes, I should not have eaten that. Bad decision. Now let's move on to could have. And with this modal, I want you to think of possibility. That's the one word I want you to keep in mind. Possibility. I told you that with this modal, something was possible, but it did not happen. I was so tired, I could have stayed in bed all day. It did not happen, but it was possible. And I know that I give you a lot of examples, so today I have a special guest. The famous Marlon Brando is going to give you the next example.
You was my brother, Charlie. You should have looked out for me a little bit.
Oh, excellent, Marlon. A little bit of review with should have. So you should have looked out for me. Again, something that did not happen, but he wishes that it did happen. Now, I will make a quick little grammar correction. You would not say you was. Instead, you're going to use you were. But that's okay. Let's just focus on these modals. So Please continue.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum.
So at this moment, he feels like a bum. But those other things were possible. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. And what he's referring to is boxing. He was a prize fighter. I could have been a contender. And then if we want to use the negative, could not have, in that case, we're just saying the opposite and saying that something was impossible. So before I said I was so tired, I could have stayed in bed all day. That's talking about something that was possible. If I change that sentence around and said, I had so much work to do, I could not have stayed in bed all day. Now I'm talking about something impossible. I could not have stayed in bed because I had so much work. And then there's would've. And with would've, the word that I want you to remember and keep in mind is different. Because when you use would've, it's like something happened, but you are imagining a different result. Something different from the real situation. And often you are going to use this modal with that third conditional, those if statements. So I could say the team would have won the championship if their best player had not gotten injured. So in this case, I'm imagining that different result, because the real situation is that the best player was injured and the team did not win the championship. I want to make a quick distinction between could have and would have, because it's possible for you to use could have in that sentence. The team could have won the championship. But again, in that case, we're talking about a possibility. If I say the team would have won the championship, now it's more certain, and that is the result that I'm imagining. So it's really a difference between possibility and certainty, could have and would have. You can also use would have to show that you wanted to do something, but you were not able to. I would have given you a ride, but my car broke down. And once again, I could use the third conditional to say the same thing, same meaning. I would have given you a ride if my car had not broken down. Now, using it in the negative, would not have, you're still imagining a different result. But instead of imagining a result that would have happened, you're imagining that your real situation would not have happened if some other things occurred. I would not have finished the project without your help. So the real situation is that I did finish the project and I'm just imagining a different result. Or if I had not been stuck in traffic, I would not have been late for work. So it can be a little tricky to wrap your head around some of these examples. Just know that with would have, you're imagining a different result. Now, something you may not have known about these modals is that you can use them together as an idiom. Should have, could have, would have. Mostly people would use this in spoken English, and they are going to reduce these modals. Should have, could have, would have, or they would reduce it more and say shoulda, coulda, woulda. So what this means is that you are dismissing someone else's regret or worry about a past action or some lost opportunity, and you're just dismissing that. So it's kind of a cold response and it's just unsympathetic. So let's say that we work together and you're a little upset with me because I made you do more work, and I'm telling you like, yeah, maybe I should have worked harder so that you did not have to do my work for me. And you're a little annoyed, you're a little upset, and you would say, yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's already done. It's too late. I've already did your work. And then I could keep going and say, I know that you did that extra work and I would have offered to help, but I was stuck in traffic. And once again, you could dismiss my regret and say, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't care about your excuse. I'm still angry. Should have, could have, would have. All right. You can't change the past. So that idiom is a fun way to wrap up the lesson. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you have a better understanding of these modals. Should have, could have, and would have. And I could honestly tell you that interactive English could not have gotten this far without you. That is absolutely true. And we can make it more certain and say interactive English would not have gotten this far without you. And for that, I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the lesson, please hit that like button. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. So long.